Welcome back to another awesome C# Godot tutorial with Vidya. So far we've created a great save, load, delete menu and audio menu. Now that we have two menus on our main menu, it's time to introduce a way to switch between them. To follow along, you can download the previous lesson's files, lesson 6, from GitHub. If you want to follow along with this lesson completed, please use lesson 9's files. So let's get started. Now the first thing you want to do is, since the code for this is going to be less than our previous ones, I'm going to try and do this one interactively and hope I don't bore you guys too much with it. If you don't like that, let me know which way you like it better, where if I just explain the videos or if I do the interactive coding. So to get started, if you already have a main menu.cs, go ahead and delete it. We're going to start from scratch. Come up here to our main node, which is a node 2D. We're going to right click and we're going to attach a script. Make sure it's C# and it's extending from node 2D. The default template will be node, and our path is going to actually be up here. We're going to come up to res, and we're going to come into our prefabs, our menus, and then into our scripts. And we are going to call this main menu. And now go ahead and click on create. Now to get started, as always, we're just going to clean up the template, get rid of the comments up there. We're not going to ever use process for our menus. All right, great. Now, one thing that I'd like to review real quick before we really deep dive into this code, let's go back to Godot just for a moment. We got a save load menu, and we can turn on the eyeball and turn off the eyeball for the audio menu. Or we can turn off the eyeball and turn on the eyeball for the audio menu. So we got the two menus, and we're going to switch between them with just a little bit of code. Let's come back over here. All right, so to get started, we're going to export two fields. We're going to export an integer that is going to serve as which layer we want to be showing as default, and then we're also going to export we're also going to export an array that is going to hold all of the layer references. So you're just going to go square brackets and go export. We're going to go private int default layer, and then we're going to export an array. We can just go private canvas layer, and we're going to just do square brackets. And we're going to just do canvas layers. And the first thing I like to do is to have a method that will just hide all the layers by default. So we're just going to do private void hide all layers, parentheses and brackets. And we're going to do for each var layer in canvas layers, and we're going to do a layer dot hide. All right, perfect. So the first thing we're going to do on our ready function is show the default layer. But part of showing the layer is hiding all the layers first. So let's go ahead and create private void show layer. And we are going to take in an integer, and I'm just going to call it my int. And we are just going to say hide all layers. The first thing we're going to do when we show the layer. And then we are going to say canvas layers bracket my int dot show. So it's going to take the canvas layers array, and then it's going to append the integer that we passed into it and it's going to just show that one layer. So during the ready function, all we need to do is go show layer, and we're going to just pass in the default layer, and that's going to show the layer that it can do. Now, one more thing that I'd like to do is actually make this whole menu system available to the other menus. And to make that happen, we need to make the show layer into public. That's going to be the only thing that the other scripts are going to be able to see is the show layer, and that's perfect. The next thing is that we're going to set up a reference, and to do the reference, I'm just going to do a static singleton. Public static main menu instance, all lowercase. And on ready, we're just going to go instance equals this. And that's going to give us our static reference that we're going to be able to use for our back buttons on the other menus. So we don't have to climb trees, we don't have to do anything crazy, we can just go ahead and just get this static reference, and bada bing, bada boom, everything's going to be glued together. Let's come back over to Godot after saving, and you're going to want to click on the build button. So go ahead and click on main, and the default layer is going to be 0, which is fine. Now you're going to click on this little button here that says nil, click on that, and we're going to make this a size of 2. And then you're going to click on assign, and I'm going to choose the save load menu, and also the audio menu. So to see if this is working, what we can do is we can just turn them both on, and we can just play the game from the beginning of the game. And there we go. That's now our default menu. Now, the other thing that we want to do quickly is just go ahead and introduce a main menu to this that will sit on top of everything else. So I'm going to just click on main, and I'm going to add a child node, and it's going to be a canvas layer. And I can just call this main. And I'm going to hide the other two so that they don't confuse me. Let's go ahead and create 3 buttons. We're going to create the start game button, the audio button, and we're going to create a quit button. So go ahead and right click on main and click on add child node. And we're just going to type in button, and we're just going to choose the default button. And in this text, we're just going to type in the word start. And we're going to duplicate this. We're going to rename this button. Let's call it the start button. And let's duplicate this with Control D. And we're going to call this the audio button. And I'm just going to change the text on this real quick and just call this audio for now. And the last button is going to be the quit button. So I'm going to duplicate it one more time. And I'm just going to call this the quit button. All right, perfect. So we got 3 buttons. I'm just going to move my audio and quit button down. Zero and 40. And again, I'm going to move this down 0 and 40 also. All right. Now this main menu is always going to live in this node configuration. So what we need to do is have each button call the switch menu button from its node signal. Click on button and click on node, and then you're going to click on button up, and you're going to choose main, and come on back to your script. So we want show layer. So we're just going to copy that, go back to Godot, just call that show layer. And we want to send an argument to this, and we want to send an integer. So this one is we're going to hit an add, and we're going to send a 1. and then we're going to hit connect. Okay, so it's going to send a 1 to that, so that means that it's going to go to the next button down. Come on over to audio menu. We're going to choose button up and replace it again with show layer, add an integer, and we're going to make that a 2. Then hit connect. And to finish this up, come on over to main and inspector. We need to add another field to the array, and we need to add the main menu to it. And what we can do is we can just bring that up to the top by dragging on the little hamburger. So now we got main, save, load, quit, and audio menu all put together. So go ahead and save that. And to test it out, you can just press the run button. We got start. So it takes us over to the start menu, but we can't switch back yet. So we do need to have a switch back, and the prefabs don't really have a direct connection this way. So we're going to use that static reference that C# offers to be able to switch between them. So come on over, click on the movie icon here next to save load. Click on this and then open up the script. And then we're going to go ahead and let's just go all the way to the bottom, and we're going to have to create a new button. So let's just hook it up the natural way, but it's going to be on the bottom. So let's go over to Godot, and we're going to create a back button. There's a quit button here and a reset button. So we probably don't want the quit button on this particular one. We could actually change this into the back button. And instead of on quit button up, we're going to just do on. We're just going to call it on back button up. We're just going to copy that and then hit connect. We don't need to send any extra call arguments. We're going to want to move the on quit button up to the main menu so we can quit from there. So we're just going to do public void on back button up. And we are just going to call the singleton. So we're going to go main menu dot instance dot show layer, and we're going to show layer 0. So we're going back to the very beginning of the menu. I'm just going to grab this and cut this out of here. And let's go back over to the main menu, and we are going to expose a public right there for on quit button up. I'm just going to copy that, and let's just save everything. And that'll make this work. Going back, come on over to 10 main, and quit is going to go button up to on quit button up. Make sure you don't have your parentheses on it. And now we have our on quit button up. And that's right on the main menu. So if you hit play now, so I'm going to hit quit works, hit play again. We're going to go ahead and hit the audio menu. That one doesn't have a back button yet. Hit play one more time. Come over to start. Now we do have a back button. We're going to click it, and it brings us back. So let's go on over to the audio menu and make it so that has a back button as well. So you're just going to come over here, audio menu, and add a child node, and we're just going to add another button to it. And in the inspector, we're just going to call it back. And for now, I'm just going to put it over here. And this, I will just move this over here for now. We'll have to get us a nice UI designer to make this menu really look nice, but it's functional. That's all it is for right now. So we need to also do the same thing again. And to be consistent, what I'd like to do is come over to the Save Load menu, come back up to the script, and I want to steal the back button. I want to steal the method on back button button up. But first we need to hook up the signal first. So we're going to copy that, go to Godot, and we need to be on the audio menu. Click on node, click on button up, and we're just going to choose that. On back button button up, take off your two parentheses, just hit connect. And that's going to bring us all the way in here, and we're going to put the back button in there. And we can actually just copy the code from the save load delete. So public void on back button button up, copy that and paste that in there. So the audio menu CS has public void on back button button up. Oh, right. I got it inside my curly brackets. So if you have that problem, go ahead and come up here and you can highlight this curly bracket and it should show us the ending curly bracket, which is here on the bottom. So let's bring it down further, and there it is. And make sure you got enough curly brackets. There we go. And I'll just clean this up a little bit. All right, perfect. So we got our back button for the audio menu. We got the back button for the save, load, delete menu. So the menu should all be ready to go ahead and make it so that we can go back to the main menu. Let's go ahead and save and play our game. So we can do start, and we can go back. We can go audio, and we can go back, and we can quit. So the entire loop is now completed. And one more nice thing that I'd like to add to this is when you're clicking on the back button, I'd like it to save the settings for the game data. So come on over to Save, Load, Delete menu CS, and right before you change your layer, go ahead and go gamemaster.save game data. And we're going to do the same thing for audio menu as well. And that's it. That's going to give you a very nice way to get back and forth between your menus. And I know that I did not really create I know I didn't make the main menu itself separated from everything like I did for the audio menu and save load menu, but I think that for this particular instance, the main menu should stay on the node and be part of the scene and not an instance of the scene for this particular usage. And the reason why the main menu is going to be without being made into a prefab quote unquote scene is that the references will not function right if it is set up to be separated. So we'd actually have to do the script differently and have a different reference to have the main controller script update and whatnot. So this system's not perfectly architected to follow the standard that I've been setting, but I think that it's okay to just have the main menu as its own entire scene that you can customize and change the background graphics to here using the Node 2D system, and just having the menus themselves sit on top of it, and the submenus will be instance nodes. So that's everything for the menu switcher. I got you switching menus, I got you going back, and I also have the game data actually being saved, and I hope that you're starting to see the flexibility and power of this system so far. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.